And we are live. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. Leicester City have just drew 2-2. It's a weird performance. We've got Akash with us. Fantastic to have you again, Akash. Akash, what are your initial thoughts on the game, the Burnley game just finished?
Initial thoughts is that we are really lucky to salvage at least a point from that fixtures because at times, more than often, it looked like we're going to drop points in this fixture. And before the match, we were pretty confident that we're going to grab those 3 points that were left for hanging. But it became a very, very topsy-turvy kind of a match that we dealt with so far.
Yeah, there was all over the place. There was parts where I was like, okay, we're good, we're not finishing. But right, we'll get started where we normally do, the formation. So initially we're coming into it with kind of a 4-2-3-1, or like a 4-3-3 with Samore and Diddy and Tillemans in the midfield, which I thought was strange. And obviously the body up top with Lookman to one side and then Barnes to another. It's safe to say some of the players that were it was interesting. I think I was looking forward to seeing them too, as in Barnes on one side and Lookman on the other. I think Lookman was bright, but Barnes, we expect a lot more from him, and he didn't quite deliver, in my opinion.
Absolutely right. He has been struggling for quite a long period after he came back from that injury. He hasn't been the same Harvey Barnes, but still he's not too bad either. He is just holding his place off. And yeah, Lookman was absolutely brilliant in this game. First time starting for us in a Premier League fixture, and he looked the part.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Again, it's not going to be too many positives because there's lots of question marks all over the pitch. To be honest, going through it. But the thing is, we started off quite well. I think the first 10 minutes, we have to be honest,
Mm.
there was some really good football. I was like, okay, but it was a similar formation, similar style to the Brighton game. After 10 minutes, it was of good play. Vardy could have had a chance, but then the ball goes into the back of the net. And I don't know if I just watched it and went, I don't know what to say about that because it's Jamie Vardy, so I can't hate on him too much. But I was like, it's not good enough, man. That kind of thing. I know we can't defend against corners, but we don't expect our own Jamie Vardy to put the ball in the back of the net.
That's quite shocking because when we are this actually shows how scared we are to defend a set piece, because in any other team, if you have a front man and that front man is the sole person to lead up the charge, you don't see in a corner situation that prime striker coming back and tracking back to defend a corner. And question should be asked, why was Jamie Vardy doing in that place? Because he should be up front, because if any counter attack channels from that point onwards, he should be the leading the charge and making those runs to probably charge up a counter attack. So why was he there is my first question. But it's a very, very sour feeling because we are not accustomed to see Jamie Vardy put the ball back into our own net. That's a very rare feeling, and I hope we don't ever feel that way again. But again, I agree completely. First 10 minutes, I think we created 2 or 3 chances and we looked like we were attacking. And that was our mindset, to defend less and attack more, because we know we have been struggling in the defensive department. So I agree. If you are struggling in one perspective, you should boost your attacking, because attack is the best form of defense. And that was very visible from the get-go. But after the 10 minutes, after we went 1-0 down, it was we reached a certain kind of a drought throughout before the first half. So yeah, I mean, a lot of question marks, as you rightly said, is can be placed upon several aspects of this game. And that was the first shocker that was delivered to us in this fixture.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm just kind of I'm just all over the place a little bit. So I think the main thing we got to get into, I think the first thing we have to get into after all this, instead of following this through, we're trying to play out from the back when there isn't really a defense, and it's not on. I mean, as you were saying, attack is the best form of defense. Yeah, sure, but with Wilfred and Didi there, even he's getting nicked off the ball. The back four at times look completely exposed, and it was just the defensive part. Bearing in mind, you've got somebody like Timothy Castagna / not Ryan Bertrand on one side, and then Timothy Castagna and Ricardo Pereira on that right, who are both good defenders, two centre backs. It's not happening, is it? The defense is a massive part, and if we want to play out from the back, You can't do that, and it doesn't. I don't want to say Casper too much, but he doesn't help himself as well, especially when we're in possession of the ball.
Today was horrendous because Kasper Schmeichel really put us at risk 2 or 3 times by dispossessing the ball. I mean, he was. I mean, a clap doesn't happen with just one hand. There was several other players in different instances who are equally to be blamed. But yeah, Kasper Schmeichel's distribution with the ball has been questionable for a long, long time. He hasn't been good all that much with distribution, and also today he was lacking a sort of judgment because he was thinking thinking twice before committing to a ball, and that split second was making all the essential difference because uh, disposition was all over the place, and Kasper Schmeichel really didn't find his ground today.
Yeah, no, he definitely didn't. He didn't even have that many saves. Again, you can't do that when Burnley aren't shooting. But at times, especially in the second half, I was like, his distribution was not. You're right. His distribution was not good enough, and I've always had tried to stick up for Schmeichel because he is a leader. He is a person in that back line that will absolutely stop show stopping. But when the team is down, you don't need to be putting the ball out in these places, and especially when Burnley are pressing you, and it does give him criticism. However, yes, it is part of a game that I know that he's bad at, but overall, it is also an issue with the back line, as I was saying earlier. Vestergaard, I thought he was going to come in and he looked quite solid, but today he was being pushed and pulled all over the place, which is really surprising. He couldn't play with the ball at his feet. He played out a couple of times. He was making rash challenges. He got a yellow card very early on. So I definitely have to be criticized of him as well.
You know, from the moment Fofana was injured, we felt a certain kind of tremor that this was gonna derail our season by 2 or 3 positions at least, and it is quite visible from the results that we have been stitching up. And Johnny Evans's injury didn't help at all because the PF injury that he has been subjugated to is a kind of injury that keeps on reoccurring, and it was a questionable decision in the Millwall game. Why was he chosen to play such a fixture? Don't we have like people like Amarte or other defenders like Benkovic who can fill up the spot in a game that is not that important?
Mm-hmm.
So our priorities need to be sort up, and there have been questions piling up for Brendan Rodgers' decisions into this results contribution factor as well. And today, Vestergaard. Okay, when we brought Vestergaard, we knew what his pros and cons were.
Mm-hmm.
I think whenever you get a player who is massive and tall, you're gonna lose some aspects into that player. He's not gonna be super quick. His decision making is gonna take a second or two extra than any other player. So that was evident from today's game. Earlier, he was praised for his game and the minutes that he earned in the previous matches. But you're gonna see more criticizing performance of Vestergaard than the ones he impresses in, because that's a reality that we need to deal with, and we have to do what we have got right now, because nobody was available in the transfer window who was going to fill up for Fofana. So that's a huge loss. And Sonchu losing all kinds of direction when a compass such as Johnny Evans is not around. So both the aspects are not linking up together, and the manager doesn't have enough option to fulfill that defensive wall again. So we have to cope up with it. And I think the marking was all over the place today. The marking wasn't good. The second goal is evident of that, because Cornet shouldn't get that kind of a space to put a volley in. Ricardo Pereira was the only one marking him, but it's a hit and miss. I mean, if Ricardo Pereira tries to jump and commit, uh, predicting a direction that he was going to go for, it can be 50-50. I mean, it didn't click, and we can blame it, but the main question is why can Vidra get a lot of space into our box so he can channel such a cross that ends up into the back of the net? I mean, it could have been avoidable, pretty much avoidable, if you look at it, because Vidra was off balance. He was not in a very good position to put in that cross, but it happened. It was kind of a shocking goal for me, more shocking than the first one, to be honest, because that was a brilliant goal. I don't know why Cornet didn't celebrate that one, but yeah, it was all over the place. We didn't mark well enough.
No, we didn't, and especially the back, as we were saying before, it is shocking. And the thing is, we know Johnny Evans, as you were saying before, Johnny Evans is a big player for us. I admit that. However, if he comes out the side, the defense shouldn't fall apart, and it's something. He's a big player, and we respect how good he is. However, we can't be relying on this person and this injury to take that and make us come back to normal. Because as much as I love Johnny Evans, he's 34. He's on his way out. We need people like Soyuncu to step up. Bertrand again, who I wasn't. He played some okay football, but it was like a 5 out of 10. And for somebody of his quality, I think I expected more of him, to be honest, today.
Yeah, the first point, Sonchu shouldn't always be measured up whether Johnny Evans is playing or not, because he should be matured enough to play on his own and keep his cool composure up. So that was spot on, because we expect far more from him.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Bertrand, yeah, a lot of experience, but I think it wasn't clicking from the backside. To be honest with you, it was, let's face it, it was just a Jamie Vardy show. I mean, he orchestrated
Yeah.
however the things went on, and it was one such a day that Jamie Vardy salvaged us with those crucial points. I think uh, a lot of players didn't have a lot of part to play into that game, but some of them did. But it was a one man show, to be honest.
Yeah, it really was. And we'll get on to the one man, obviously, who that was technically scored a hat trick, but we're not going to claim that because there's
Yeah.
enough to we're definitely not claiming that today because that's awful. If I was really shameless, I'd be able to. But yes, again, defensively, Ricardo Pereira, don't know exactly why he came off after 45 minutes, but what I saw, I don't know if you saw it on your stream, on your end, as Timothy Castagna came on, he did this motion. He goes, talk. He goes, talk to me. He goes, talk to each other. So there is communication issues all over the pitch, which is, I know some of these languages aren't there first, but this is beyond English. This is like just football talk to each other, and it really wasn't good enough. And also, when we had the ball, we're trying to play out for the back. It wasn't convincing unless we were playing on the counter, kind of getting the ball, passing it really good. From that back line, we gave away so many opportunities. Balls going to Ndidi's back to goal. Tielemans, I'd say Tielemans had a 7 out of 10, but at times I was like, what is happening? It's like at parts there's been a spell thrown all over them where they just make a wrong decision or a wrong pass. And this definitely, I think some people have put, it does need to be sorted out in training because it's not good enough to kind of be playing. And again, Burnley were fantastic. Let's get it right. Burnley were fantastic. They set up fantastically, but simple balls. It was simple things that they just weren't doing, and it gets to the point now where I know I'm an optimistic fan, but this is getting concerning. So, like playing out from the back when it's not working, we don't have to keep doing it.
I agree, because no 3 points in the forthcoming matches are going to be easy for us. This performance does prove it, because Burnley is not a top side, and they played so well today that it is concerning, a very concerning matter at the moment. And you can't really, state a reason that there was a lack of communication between the player and give an excuse for this kind of a result, because as you said, this is a universal language. If you are a defender, you have your instincts and you need to press on that. You have plenty of training sessions every day almost to rectify all the mistakes that have been seen in the previous weeks. So there is not too much strong argument to get around that fact that we were bad in our defensive department. There is a concern, and it has been a persistent concern in defending the set pieces. It is not withering
Yeah.
away anytime soon. So I think it's not rocket science. I think we need to be clinical and critical of our performances, and as well as try to rectify, because if you're not rectifying the mistakes that you are being accused of, then the manager, slowly loses the fans and loses the dressing room. I mean, Brendan Rodgers, as much talented and as much a favorite person of me that he is, still, if he doesn't rectify the mistakes that is obvious to any other fan, then there piles up the questions that what is happening at this stage, because we are not that kind of a team who really should drop points against teams like Burnley. So what's happening? Because today was just shocking, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. You're totally right. Um, it's just there was parts of it where I was like, yeah, you're right. We should be doing a lot better. And again, I don't want to criticize the manager too much, but when these issues happen, like in the Norwich game, we expect to rectify it. And it looks like a lot of them lessons haven't been learned. So that's why we need to hold again the team accountable and go, well, if it's not working one way, yes, we've got Vestergaard instead of Daniel Amate, but it's still not working. There is issues that we have to sort out. And Burnley played us fantastically. However, this is a Burnley team that are a good team. I know they've only got 1 point. I think it's their second point all season now. However, there's things that I'm just like, this is not good enough. I mean, there was some good before. There was some parts where I was like, today, let's have a look at this. Yeah, giving the ball away in defensive areas, defensively bad distribution for Schmeichel. Even Schmeichel dropped the ball again. One bit, Schmeichel ran in. Did he run into Schmeichel to drop the ball? I'm
Yeah,
like, come on, man. We're better than this. There's things like that I'm like, what is happening? Why is everybody just clicking a little bit more? Because I bet, especially being at the stadium and stuff, I can imagine it's just frustrating going, well, we are better than this. And it's not to be egotistical. It's just to be, no, we have set our levels to a certain standard and we expect that, especially with the signs that have come in as well.
absolutely. The moment that you mentioned was really unfortunate, and the way the ball was lost could have resulted in a very traumatizing kind of a scenario if it landed to one of the attackers and they just pulled one back. But luckily for us, it didn't happen. But Kasper Schmeichel, there shouldn't be any kind of communication gap between Kasper Schmeichel and Wilfred Ndidi. Because they are accustomed for a long time, and those kind of displays were shocking. As I said, I don't know. I mean, concern. It is quite concerning because
Mm-hmm.
again, Burnley, yeah, a good side. Sean Dyche is a good manager, but despite that, they have not earned their points. And
Mm-hmm.
if we are losing points to such teams, that I don't think after that first 10 minutes we shouldn't have kept the tempo up. We were dominating in the first 10 minutes, so why can't it go a bit longer? Why do we need to switch off? I mean, nobody does it intentionally, but as a critical fact, that would come up because after 10 minutes you looked lost, and that didn't rectify for a long time. And Vardy was again the answers to all our worries, and that is a worry in itself, because if you're relying that much on Vardy to give you 1 point each time you are in a deep dug well, so ultimately where that does that put us? Because injuries, we know how traumatizing they can be. And if you're relying that much on one player, and others are not stepping up, because let's face it, Madison has been a questionable prospect for a long time. Jose Perez has been a questionable prospect for a long time. Again, when we are not in the lead, Madison was brought on. So why are we doing that? We have Kieran Drewsbury Hall, who is a fantastic player, who reads the ball well, who can create fantastic chances. Madison is struggling. Why are you bringing him on? Again, Ricardo Pereira, why was he substituted? I have no idea, because everybody thought after Vestergaard receiving an early caution and the cautionary yellow card, he was going to be taken off, and maybe Amarte or somebody would fill up the boots. But it wasn't the case, and Ricardo Pereira was subbed off. I don't know why that happened. Like you, I'm pretty clueless about that as well.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to listen out for the post match and see what he says. Again, there's points where I was like, "Oh, Brooklyn's," but credit to Sion Chua, excellent solution to the right. I don't think he was excellent. I think he was good at points, but
Good.
defensively, which is what a main defender is supposed to do, he didn't hold his own. He was looking to other people. He looked like he'd never played with these people before in his life, and that's the kind of bit that we had that was really annoying. But one-on-one battles, he was kind of doing okay with. And as you were saying, so he has some stupid agendas against some people. So obviously, with probably Yeti Boys going after Iheanacho. And we'll get on to him. Great performance. Again, comes on, puts the assist in. We know he's not going to start, but it is frustrating to us fans. And he had a big welcome when he came on. But he is frustrating. The goal that he scored midweek, he comes on and he does a fantastic job, but he's not getting the start, even when Madison and Perez aren't starting.
You know, before a year, we were all skeptical and really disheartened how Iheanacho was performing, and then he was benched, and we all agreed to the decision that he should be benched for that time. And during the injury crisis, he was brought in, and magically He was stringing up great performances. He was scoring goals, and it got to a point when it can't be a fluke anymore because he was scoring for his national team, for us, and he was scoring some pretty fantastic goal even in the last match against Millwall. The second goal was just brilliant. The first one was a rebound by Elinacho's shot. So he's doing that part. He's challenging the goalkeeper. He's troubling the defense. So I understand if you're not starting him from the get go, but in the second half, you should do that substitution, even if you're going, playing one man up front in Vardy. But Ilnacho again came on, registered an assist, and that was very good. I think I have seen Ilnacho play, and I think there is a great prospect for a man like Ilnacho, and there is another area where he lacks. I think he is very poor in providing a ball to his partner or his teammate when it's required to lob the ball. I have really seen him struggle to pass a long ball, but when it's a ground through ball, he just provides the delicate perfection, and he did that for Vardy, and Vardy just escaped his tracker, rushed in, scored that goal, and that is what I'm talking about. In my personal totem pole of pecking order, I would always pick Iheanacho in terms of playing even as an attacking midfielder, if times require so, than James Maddison at this point, because he has been contributing far more than Maddison does, and even he can play as a second striker. I don't understand this stigma, why we can't tinker a bit of our formation to adjust to our strengths and play to our strengths. I don't understand that. Why do we need to stick to a traditional three man up front, and we can't really tinker with one attacking midfielder? Why can't we mix it up?
Yeah, I don't know either, especially with today. You're talking about an attacking midfielder. We technically didn't even have one on the pitch. You've got Harvey Barnes on the left. You've got Lookman on the right. Well, he's kind of roaming, but more on the right, bringing in, or more centrally bringing in Ricardo on the right hand side as well. Then Samore again. I do like Samore, but what I thought he was going to offer was pass, pass, pass. So Tillemans gets the ball and then he springs it, gives it to Samore, and Samore just charges. And it's not, he's more getting the ball and passing it. And I'm like, you're kind of doing the same role as Tillemans, and we don't really need two of them because Tillemans is so good. So it's such a kick in the teeth for Iheanacho as well, because I'm like, Samore, I do like him, but he's been playing out of position. At times he was going forward. He did a nice little flick, I think, in the first half of Vardy. Want to give him credit, but at the same time, what we needed in that match wasn't a Samore. I know they were physical, but we have that defensively. We're all right in terms of physicality. It's going forward that was the issue.
I agree with you because Sumare didn't bring all that much to the table that would have set him apart from the rest. However, looking at his performances, in one-on-one situations he does pretty well to string up the passes. He is good, but definitely not right set of tools that one would implement in this kind of a match. Talking about Tillemans, he really tested the keeper. He was trying the FA Cup winning kind of shots all over the place, and it was good because ultimately, if you are giving them a constant nag and disturbing the back line, it's a good sign. Unfortunately, several of them were on target, but they were deflected elsewhere. But it's a good sign from Tillemans. I would say it's, as you said, it's a 7 out of 10 performance, and it's not half bad. I would take a Tillemans like that over Harvey Barnes's performance as he did today.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's not to degrade Tillemans, because again, Tillemans, there was some bright sparks to him. However, he does set his level so high that we know he can do better.
Mm,
And that's
mm.
not being against him. That's going, right, we know you can do better. But he was one of the top performers today, which isn't saying much. I think we were 5, 6 at times. The passage of play, and it would be a pass here, pass here, pass here, and then the ball would go out, or there'd be a miscommunication. And I'm like, this is just the little things that we've got to straighten out. But because they happen so regularly, we have to criticize them for it, because it's not the first time it's happened, and it's going to keep happening. I think Glenn's put a good point in as well. We've only had one decent performance, and that's when we lost against Man City. The players and the players or the management system, that's the issue. I think it's a combination of both. As you were saying, getting Nacho in the team would be a massive thing, but Brendan Rodgers is quite, I think we mentioned it on the program before, he's stubborn. He's stubborn in the way he wants to play, and he wants to set up his team. However, you're not playing your best players even when they're on form. For example, Lookman started and Iheanacho started, but then Iheanacho didn't and Lookman did for this match when they both scored against Millwall, and then and Iheanacho's goal was better. I don't think anybody watched the match because it didn't go down. So there's annoying things like this, and I think it just feels like there's a disconnect between the players and the manager. One's trying to do one thing and the players are trying to do it, and there's just something is just not gelling. But this time last year, or when I remember playing Chelsea, I remember talking to Scully, the cohesion of the team was immense. We could take on anybody and beat them, and like the likes of Chelsea, we did. And it seems like the opposite issue at the moment.
Neither is helping out the other because the players are not helping out the manager. The manager with his selections is not putting out his strongest possible side, and that invertedly is again not helping the players. So it's a vicious cycle that we have been a part of. The stubbornness, okay, a manager can be stubborn, it's not that uh, bad, but at times you have to let go of your ego, and you have to hear what others are saying, because that does help. Because after all, you are just a man, you are a manager. Don't get me wrong, I'm not questioning your credentials, but you have to sometimes listen to others, the assistant coaches and staff, to make out your best pick for the day. Because this right now is a questionable lineup from the get go, and when there is doubt in the starting lineup, the starters are definitely going to know it, that we are not putting our best 11.
Mm-hmm.
And despite being a goal scorer and a brilliant performer against Millwall, if Iheanacho is not getting that vital minutes, he will be frustrated, and that will reflect on his game. Either it can go either two ways. Like a positive person like Iheanacho can take it in a motivating kind of a way, that whatever the gaffer gives me for this match, with whatever less minutes I'm gonna get, I'm gonna impress the boss and hope that he picks me up in the next match.
Which he did.
Otherwise, yeah, and otherwise a player can be disgruntled.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think he is we'll have to see, because Nacho can't keep doing this, and the fans, again, when he was coming on, before he was even on the pitch, the fans were singing his name, and I think the fans were in one point where we understand that he needs to play. We know that Brendan Rodgers isn't his favorite person, but at the same time, the way he ended last year was just fantastic. I know with the formation that we played, we have to change something. We don't have the strength of players to go to three at the back, but we have to try and two up top or something around there. Players, I think, I don't. Somebody in the comment. I've lost the comment. I'm really sorry, but somebody was mentioning Barnes again. Barnes, he's not hitting the levels that we need him to, and with a game like this, we needed to take on a man and beat him and move forward. Lookman did it on the right. I'm really, we've mentioned him already. Really impressed, but Harvey Barnes didn't do it on the left, and it is disappointing because arguably he could be dropped as well. Because if you got the likes of Marco Brighton that can give you a 7 out of 10 on that right hand side, why would you not?
Absolutely. So, because whatever you expect of Barnes, I mean, Barnes and Lookman technically play in the same position, and one of them was playing sort of out of position because they were lining up behind Vardy in the right and left areas of the pitch. But if you look at it, Lookman was the person who was playing more out of position than Barnes, and it was expected. When you play players out of their natural positions, they are going to struggle. But in this case, it was the opposite. But I think a tinkering needs to be done at this point. Claudio
Mhm.
Ranieri was called the Tinkerman, but I hope somebody does tinker with the squad right now, because Brendan Rodgers does need some bit of tinkering. Otherwise, it's just not gelling up well. I mean, there has been lack of communication, as we mentioned earlier. There has been defensive problem, man marking, set piece defending. There hasn't been good stretch of counter attacks because we are intermingling passes between ourselves, and the final pass that will take it into the final third is not just uh, formulating all that well. So that's the main issue right now. I think anything cannot be rectified if without a few training sessions. But again, when you are competing at every level, you are in the Carabao Cup, you are in the FA Cup, and you are in the Premier League as well as the European tournament. So it's going to be very tough, and you need to figure out what is your best 11 straight away. That is essentially what the friendlies are for. But when you're getting signings at the dead end of the transfer window, you still have 1 or 2 games in your hand to figure out what is your best possible lineup in the defense, what is your best set of offense. Even if you're not content with any one particular starting 11, you should have at least 15 players that you can alter between, and you can interest them with minutes. And being a part of all this tournaments at different time really puts the question that what is our best 11, and if we are gonna like set our priorities straight, are we gonna try to be that top 6 team in the Premier League and give it our everything we have got, or we would take a European Cup as our topmost priority this season and hope that we qualify even though we don't do that well in the Premier League? Because there is that curse when you win the Community Shield, there is that curse that that team drastically drops its performance. It has happened in the past, and I think it's very true. I was hoping it was just a superstition, but it's not. It's just turning out to be true.
I agree, but the thing is, you compare this, for example, to the way the West Ham, the squad that they've got, and the fact is, last season I would agree with you. You have to figure out your best team and try and play that. But we saw what happened: injuries, bang, 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 bang. James Justin's gone. Harvey Barnes was a big miss. James Maddison was gone for periods of time. Dennis Pratt was gone for periods of times. It was frustrating. And it's here, mate. What's your first thought? Where are you at the moment? I know you're a lovely hoodie, by the way.
Don't get me some Cornet on the video.
Cornet's literally over there, just in a van, just over there where he's gone off injured. But
Who?
no, but Cornet, the goal scorer for Burnley.
Oh, right. Yes.
Seconds, yeah. It weren't great, was it? It weren't great, like being honest. But I don't know. I felt like we got everything we deserved for that, if I'm completely honest. Like,
yeah.
Burnley were very unlucky not to take all 3 points at the end, and like when you don't start your best players and then you sub off the player who's had the biggest impact on the game for a player who's been dead since January, you get everything you deserve.
It was a strange one taking Lookman off. I think we said as well how positive he was. But again, I think we've mentioned pretty much everybody in every point. We've had a bit of a rant, and the comments had a bit of a rant as well. And Jamie Vardy, it reminds us, I'm not going to mention the manager or whatever, but we're relying on him to pray and carry us through games once again, which just isn't right, in my opinion. We do need to improve all over the pitch, but Jamie Vardy, again, just taking us to where we need to go. Without him, we don't get any points from this game.
Yeah, obviously he scored the own goal, but he also got the 2 goals that earned us a point. But if we've got any ambition of staying in the top 6 this year, you need to be taking more than a point at home against arguably one of the worst teams in the league. So I don't know. I just feel massively disappointed at the moment.
Yeah, I definitely agree as well. Right, I'm just going to go through again. The comments have been absolutely flying in. I'm trying to get to some of them, but there's a lot. There was a lot going on at the moment. There's a lot going on at the moment. I'm just trying to find some comments as well. Yeah, as you were saying, taking Lookman off of Maddison was nonsensical. I thought Daka should have come in. I mean, Daka's another good shout. I mean, didn't have many players and things on that. But what do you think? Again, Daka could have done something instead of even Maddison, Akash, because it could have been something.
I just don't think Lookman should have come off for anyone, if I'm honest, even if it was Daka, Maddison.
Harvey Barnes should have. Harvey Barnes should have come off.
Yeah, it just seems a really strange change. And the thing is, it's not as if it's a one-off either. We seem to be saying this week after week as what a strange change and what a strange decision.
Yeah.
Fofana's walking right behind me.
Is he? Let's have a look. Are you getting him on camera?
On the channel.
No, you can't. You can't flip it, mate. Unfortunately.
Oh, can you not?
No, I've tried to flip it at the ground. It doesn't work.
What?
Oh, there we go. Some of the you don't see every day. But yeah, we've got exclusive scoops at the ground here, haven't we? But yeah, I'd like to think I'm not. And you know me, you've took the piss out of me about being an optimistic fan. But even I had a rant today because I'm like, if we have one performance and that's the thing, and it's not good enough, sure. But this is continuing problems, and it seems to be like massive problems between the players, the management, the substitute. Everything is just a bit strange at the moment.
The thing is, you could accept it if the bad performances were the one-offs, but it's the good performances that seem to be it's the good performances at the moment that seem to be the one-offs.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Glenn put in early, the best performance of the season, Akash, has been the Man City game where we went toe to toe with them, and then we managed to lose. But I was happy. I was content because I was like, look, Man City are a tough team. They've managed to break us down. But since that moment, we haven't really looked convincing, to be honest, have we?
We haven't looked convincing
No, I
at all
think
this season.
I was asking Akash, sorry, and
Oh, sorry.
yeah. So when you have a match against the strongest team when the odds are against you, I think we perform under pressure greatly. I don't know why that is, but we do. And in a fixture like this one, as Ant said, beautiful King Cross Stadium.
No, we
Yeah,
haven't
as Ant said,
dominated.
that
Yeah, that
Burnley is not that kind of a great side, and we lose out our points. I think that Manchester City game should be the template to move forward because we were matching each of
hold on
their
one
players
second.
and we were.
People might be coming out at the moment. Sorry, Akash, because sometimes
Okay,
they
okay,
come
okay.
out after the stadium through reception. But yeah, we'll kind of talk through. Sorry, there's nobody at the moment. Sorry, Akash, continue. Sorry. If there's somebody coming, we'll pick it back up.
I have no clue how this works because
Okay.
I've never been to the stadium.
If you ever go, so
So,
basically, this is the back end. As you can see, the building, there's the Holiday Inn next to it as well. So basically, people wait here to get pictures with the audience, pictures with the or like autographs and photos and stuff with the players. So that's what
okay,
Andy's
okay.
currently doing. So hopefully, again, we'll stay live, and if you guys are at the moment, hopefully we'll get to see that as well.
What do you want to see,
Great.
sorry?
What were you saying? What were you saying? Who are you looking to meet at the moment, or anybody in particular?
No one in particular. I thought Ellis was winding me up because he goes Dwight McNeil because he knows I rate him so much. He's literally just there.
Oh right, okay, there we go. Another player.
Yeah,
He's
Ben, me,
definitely
and
one
Dwight
of
Okay.
McNeil literally right there.
Fantastic. Oh, we can see him. We can see him as well. Hey,
That's pretty mad.
hopefully
Oh, that's
exclusive.
mad. Nice guy, isn't it? Your photos off.
Time for Leicester. He laughed there. Come on.
You know
He's got to keep a straight face, isn't it? Because there's all four Burn.
She's walking fast, isn't it?
But yes, I think at the moment, and anything else, we've touched on a lot of stuff, and we've had a bit of a rant because that's what we do on this show sometimes. Well, I tend to, when we have content performances like this, but kind of a wrap up. We've got, what else do we have? Jamie Vardy once again. Like, we're just relying on him once again.
Cags, can I have a picture? I'm such a fanboy of Cags.
This is just derailed into like a informal catch up and see.
But
I don't want
that's
to.
actually brilliant.
Yeah. We got Dwight McNeil. Sorry, you were saying, Akash?
I wanted to ask Ant a particular question that I read somewhere that there were chants about Rebecca Vardy and then Jamie Vardy scored right after 15 minutes both the times. Is that true?
I'm not sure if I'm honest, mate.
From the Burnley fans.
I don't know. I saw him after the first goal. He ran over to the Burnley fans, but I didn't see about the second or not. But the first one he scored right in the other end, so it's not a long run. The second one, I don't know. He might have done. Wouldn't surprise me. But.
Yeah. But he thrives off that, and that's why I thought he would come back. But again, I think he scored all of our. How many goals has he not scored? Do you know what I mean? He scored pretty much all of them at this point.
Apart from Albrighton.
Yes, against Norwich. I was thinking about the second one, but again, we're relying on him once again. I know we've got other players, but with strength and depth, we should be doing better. But the thing is, I was saying to Akash as well, we had the cohesion this time last year, and we don't have it now, even though our squad is bigger and stronger. And the issue wasn't our starting 11. The issue was building out our squad. Now that we've got that, now things aren't working, which is weird because on paper they should be working.
Thing is, I'm holding on to straws of the fact that we're going to finish the season stronger this year because of the squad depth. But I'm really clutching at straws to be positive with that because we've had nothing to sort of signify that we will.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I'm just kind of holding on in the background. But I think it is, the recruitment's been okay. That people have, but there's just, I don't know if you probably saw it loads of times. When we went to Norwich, there was balls that weren't being played to right people. and this one seemed exactly the same, where the balls were good build up, but it didn't lead to anything, or a sloppy pass from a player who would put the ball out of play. And you're just going, we're better than this. We know how to play football. I don't know why this is happening.
The thing is, we didn't have a link man until about the 70th minute. And ironically, Iheanacho, I know I keep banging on about his praises and stuff. He got an assist today. He must have got about 20 minutes on the pitch. What more does the guy need to do?
And barely any touches of the ball. Him and Vardy were both starved for service and stuff, and yet both of them still converted today.
I don't want to go off on one because I will, but it's just frustrating that he's probably was the most informed striker in Europe, and he doesn't get a look in.
Yeah, it is. I think Mad About Fox has tweeted out something about like Messi being just below that as well. So it's a massive thing that's the case. But again, I'm trying to go through some of your comments. I'm just absolutely exhausted. I think mentally this was a hard one.
I think regardless of whether you like Clichy Iheanacho personally or you don't like him, he should be on the starting lineup just on the fact that his statistics show that he has been brilliant, and you need to capitalize on that red hot form, because once that's gone, it's just gone.
The thing is as well, like, it's not as if he just gets goals and stuff. He contributes, like, in the build-up. He works hard off the ball. I'd understand it if he only scored goals and then stood still the rest of the time, but he doesn't. He works so hard.
He really does.
I think why he gets a lot of shtick is because he's not that technically gifted as much as other strikers in the same league are, but he makes up for them quite brilliantly, because a man like Clichy Iheanacho, who hasn't started half the season, gets fantastic numbers that puts him with the world's best, and that is a remarkable feat, to be honest.
And all the other players start for their clubs.
Yeah, I mean,
is that all Brighton? Sorry,
Ashley Barnes.
Oh, Ashley Barnes. You're not Harvey.
You're just a shit Harvey Barnes.
Yeah. Did they sing that in the ground?
No. Honestly, dead atmosphere. No surprise, but
the thing is, I was because obviously I live relatively near the ground, so I can hear it from my house. But the beginning, the first 10 minutes, even before the kickoff, the crowd were really behind it, and they were really behind the team before kickoff.
Yeah, they were, to be fair, and it's just disappointing. We went behind, and then the typical, you can hear a pin drop.
Yeah,
but it's what it is.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. We're going to hold on. Any other thoughts, Akash? Because again, I've run out of ideas. I've got all that off my chest now, so I feel a little bit better after we do this. I normally feel better as well. So, any other thoughts before we finish? Because we've covered most of it, I think.
Last ending thought would be to give Patson Daka some chances, because if ever Vardy needs to sit 1 or 2 games out of our squad, he shouldn't be rusted. He shouldn't be rusty. He should come straight on, and he should be able to carry the team's momentum forward. Because if you are stalling a guy like Patson Daka for too long, as is the same case with Clichy Iheanacho, I think a few players like Harvey Barnes, James Maddison, I don't need to say that they need to be dropped for a sustainable period of time, but for 3 to 4 matches, I think you should sit them out, try out other options, because you have Kieran Dewsbury Hall, you have Daka, you have Lookman, you have Sumare, you have plenty of players in the midfield, and even in the front lines you have some aspects of good players, and you can bank on them. That is not too difficult, because even playing with the players that we have had coming back from injuries, they have not delivered us the results. It has been Vardy one-man show again. So why not try out different things? Because as of now, things aren't working all that good. So why don't take a risk?
No, they really won't. And where do you think we go from here?
I
think you might have
we got United next, didn't we?
I think you might have
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace.
Warsaw, Crystal Palace, then the third, then the Russian team, Spartak Moscow, then Manchester United, who have just lost today, by the way.
Well, is that 3 games now without a win for us?
3 losses in a row. Oh no, today felt like a loss.
In the league. In the league, yeah.
Yes.
We need to win our next game regardless.
Crystal
the
Palace.
thing is, it's very easy to go on
Yeah,
losing
yeah,
runs. Once you've lost one lot, you lost two. It very easily becomes 4 and 5. So, yeah, I think the key thing is now just don't lose your next one.
Yeah, and it is against a good Crystal Palace side in form. A new team, new manager, but they're going to be hungry and they're going to come for it. I think it, again, as Diego says, Palace was a must win. To be fair, today was a must win, in my opinion, to get out of this rut. And Akash, it didn't quite work out, but I think this is where we're going to lead it unless Akash, I know we said it once already. I was just waiting for it. And any final thoughts? Sorry. And any final thoughts before we finish?
Nah. On to the next one.
I think that's the mentality again. So if you've enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and we'll see everybody in the next video. So goodbye.